A Rochester favorite is back in town tonight. Joan Osborne touring behind her 11th studio album, Nobody Owns You. She'll be at the Hochstein School. But first, we welcome Joan back to Good Day Rochester this morning with a preview. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, thanks so much for having me on the show. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Very well. And, reading that intro, I want to change my first question because we're talking, this tour is following the 11th studio album. So I want to, if I can, set the stage for you and take you back to the earlier half of the 90s, New York City. You're in a bar, you step up on stage to do open mic, and you sing Billie Holiday's God Bless the Child. And I wonder, is this how you saw it all playing out? I know you were a film student at NYU at the time, but is this more than you ever could have imagined?
Oh, yes, it was a complete accident that I ended up getting into music because, as you said, I had moved from Kentucky to New York City to go to NYU Film School, and my plan was to become a documentary filmmaker. And it was really a total accident that I went out to this particular club this night, that the friend I went with dared me to go up and sing, that I took the dare, and that I, found out about this amazing sort of music scene that was happening in New York City at the time, because I was at school and I hadn't really known about it. So singing in that one club was really the beginning of it all.
Reflecting on that time and the last time we spoke,
Mhm.
you talked a lot about having faith in yourself as a young artist and taking a risk as a young person to go and kind of live a dream and live an adventure. It kind of sounds like that's what your career and life really has been.
Yeah, well, I think, when you put it that way, it sort of seems like I had this vision of how it would all unfold, and I really didn't. I was more a person who was, all right, what's the next step? What can I do next? How can I, put my own band together? How can I make a demo cassette and get some gigs in New York City? How can I expand beyond New York City to play other places like Rochester, which was one of the first towns that really embraced us outside of New York City. So it was more just, trying to be very practical and thinking about it one step at a time, and, just being willing to take that risk, and being willing to see where is this all going to lead me. And it was more of a thought that if I don't follow this and if I don't see where it takes me, I'll end up regretting it.
Mm.
So, it was really more about just not knowing what the future was going to hold, but understanding that if I didn't try, that I would probably be sorry about that.
You always regret the risks you don't take, don't you?
Mhm.
It's just one of those things. I want to talk, if we can, a little bit about the evolution of some of your music. You've had several powerful albums, from Trouble and Strife, I believe, which was number 10, now to Nobody Owns You. Can you talk to us about the variation in that music?
Mhm. Yes, well, Trouble and Strife was more of observations about, society in general and politics that were happening at that moment. And so that was a bit of a broader view for that record. And for this Nobody Owns You record, it it's a much more personal record, and it comes more from having been through a lot of really challenging things in my personal life. I have a mother who is, she has Alzheimer's, and that disease is progressing. And so I'm sort of watching her disappear in front of my eyes. I ended a 15-year romantic relationship. I have a daughter who is now gone from the house and is now off at college. So there's that sort of, losing her in that way. And, it also was a moment where I felt like I needed to take stock. I turned 60. So that's a moment when a lot of people look at their lives and say, well, I'm not going to be here forever. So what is this next part of my life going to mean? And what do I want it to be? So it was a lot of personal reflection, and the songs really came out of that process of just dealing with that emotional turmoil and thinking about, what am I here for?
So it sounds like there was no shortage of topics for you to really dive into,
Mhm.
but the fact that you're willing to go there and share them with your fan base and with audiences around the world is truly remarkable. The stylistically, your music is very soulful and powerful, and the lyrics have the power to move a lot of people. I'm wondering, is there a genre out there, because you've dabbled in a lot of it, but is there
Mhm.
a genre out there that you haven't tried that you would like to? You mentioned you turned 60. Is there one you want to try in the next decade?
That's a really good question. You know, I feel like now is the time, while I still have a voice that's fairly strong, to do that kind of experimenting. And whether that's making a jazz record or making a gospel record or whatever it is, that's definitely on my mind. Of, I'm not going to be able to sing like this forever. So what do I want to try and what do I want to experiment with?
Do you have a home studio that you play around in sometimes, maybe, so that someday we could possibly hear all of these different genres maybe on one record?
Well, that's an interesting question. I haven't thought about it in terms of how am I going to release it. It's more like, where do I want to start with this, and what do I want to explore? I do have a little bit of a home studio, but honestly, I end up just singing things into my iPhone recorder most of the time, and then taking them into other places and expanding them in like professional studios and stuff. That seems to be more the way that I can work.
The benefits of technology.
Yeah.
I want to kind of sidestep here and talk about something that I was not aware that you did. You're also a visual artist outside of the performing arts, and you kind of have an exhibit right now, singing on paper. And they're really beautiful images that you've created. Can you talk to us a little bit about your artwork?
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing it up. It's a fairly new thing. It's something that I started doing during COVID because I was not able to go out. Excuse me, I wasn't able to go out and perform, and I really felt the lack of that sort of release. So I tried to create some things, excuse me, that were an approximation of what it feels like to sing, and putting that in a visual format in a painting, and seeing if I could capture that feeling. And yeah, so that's why the exhibit is called Singing on Paper. It actually did close, but I'm looking around for some other venues to put it in, for some other galleries. So, if you know anybody who's got a good gallery who wants to show the work, then let me know.
Absolutely. Well, and listen, if viewers at home want to look at some of that artwork, I know it is still live on the City Winery New York City website. So
Mhm.
you can check out that artwork. Truly beautiful and moving images. And I like the
Thank you.
idea that you wanted to see what the emotion of singing looked like on paper. I think that's truly lovely. Last time we spoke, we did a quick rapid fire question game, and I was hoping you'll play ball with me quickly before I let you go.
Okay.
I have just a couple of questions that I want to know. If you could collaborate with any artist, living or deceased, who would it be?
Oh boy. Ray Charles.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Um, what's the most memorable fan encounter outside of this one, obviously, that you've ever had?
Oh gosh, well, I hesitate to even say this because it's a bit like bragging, but when in the '90s, after my first record came out, I went to see Patti Smith at a very small bar in New York City on the Lower East Side, and she came out after the show was over, and she saw me, and she came over to me, and she was telling me how much she really liked the record and how much she really enjoyed the song Saint Teresa in particular. So I was having a fan moment of just freaking out that she even knew who I was because I'm a huge Patti Smith fan. And she was having a fan moment of telling me that she enjoyed the work. And to me, it was just an amazing moment.
Is there a newer artist on the radio now that people should be listening to?
Gosh, there's so many. I mean, I love Yola. I love Allison Russell. There's a great band called the Heartless Bastards with an amazing singer. There's a lot of great music out there right now.
Okay, and last one. And this one Joan, I need full honesty in this one. Guilty pleasure song that you love to sing along to either in the car or in the shower.
Car Wash.
Ah, that's a good one. Look, working at the car wash, that
Oh
one?
yeah, from the
Yes.
movie. Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Joan, listen, it has been more than a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time. You can catch Joan Osborne tonight at the Hochstein School. Ticketing information can be found on our website, foxrochester.com, after the show this morning. Joan Osborne, as always, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Dan. It's great to talk to you.
Same here. Take care. And we will be right back.